Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. My name is Biff, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. So today, I kind of wanted to share a couple thoughts with you guys, and this is going to be about changing your perspective or pretty much just your outlook on life for the most part. Pretty much over the past 2 years that I've been gone from content creation, I ended up going through this change, not only physically because I'm becoming old, but pretty much mentally as well. I'm maturing, and it's really weird, but I feel like I'm finally starting to figure a lot of things out for the most part. Because I feel like before I struggled with having all these feelings and not really being able to put them into words or to describe how I'm feeling. I just kind of was just there, with all these fucking emotions, and I didn't really know what was going on. So pretty much before I ended up disappearing for the past 2 years on my main channel, Biff, I want to say that I was happy as a person, but I wasn't genuinely happy, if that makes sense. I was kind of just like there for the most part, just dealing with the blows as they come, but I had a lot of emotional turmoil and a lot of baggage I was holding on to. And it turns out there was a lot that needed to be done and for me to actually grow as a person, and instead of staying where I was, I kind of just stuck in the rough. And I kind of just wanted to share this with you guys. Pretty much the thought processes that I ended up like inheriting, and pretty much what ended up happening is I hope that you guys can either relate to this in one shape or form, or imply it into something else in your life. So a little over a year ago, me and my family ended up going through a little bit of a pickle, I'm gonna put it as, and we ended up getting put out of our house, and we were staying in hotels for about a month or so, I believe, and then we were staying with my grandmother. So I was kind of locked up in a basement, and God bless her soul for allowing me to stay there with my family and everything. Kind of took over her house, but end in all, it kind of put a damper on things. I couldn't make content for at least that year, and pretty much, dude, I was just confined into my little square in the basement. I slept on the couch for a year. All I had was my Xbox to end up playing games. Thankfully I could, otherwise I probably would have went crazy. But the whole point of me telling this to you guys is I believe that you have to hit rock bottom in order to kind of mold yourself into the person that you want to be, or to mold yourself into a better version of the person that you are currently. And I'm not saying rock bottom is like the worst thing you've ever experienced, because I'm not basing it off the severity of the situation at all. Nor am I saying rock bottom is the place in SpongeBob where they, in between every word. I feel like rock bottom is the point at which you decide to flip the switch, when you end up going through that invisible door per se. And there's this quote that I really love, and I kind of really resonated with, and it goes like, when the pain of the current reality becomes greater than the fear of change, that's when we end up changing. And when the pain becomes so intense, like that, the fear of the unknown is finally when you'll go into the unknown. When you're kind of at that door, and when it kind of ends up fully becoming enough, and you can be, you're fully aware of the situation, and it's kind of just time to just get it done, And I'm not saying this is it's not an easy process to come to, because as humans, I think it's our nature to kind of shy away from change and to kind of be just complacent with where we're at, whether we are happy or not. I feel like once you get to this point, you'll find you'll understand what I'm talking about, and it's kind of just something that happens. I really believe that. Either you'll get sick of the current circumstances or what you're doing in life, or it's just not. You'll come to terms with that it's just not enough, and there'll be a period of like self-loathe where you just like lay in bed all day, and obviously depression plays hand in hand with that, but yet it is easier said than done. What I can say is, once you are at rock bottom, the only place you can go is up. When you decide to flip that switch, that is up to you guys. And after going through this process, it kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I started really just thinking on a deeper plane, a deeper level of thought. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I ended up starting this channel. I don't think that I'm the most traveled person in the world, and I don't have answers for everything yet. I am a human, and I am constantly growing, the same as all of you guys listening to this. And I feel like I have a lot of experiences and thoughts to share that may be worth at least giving them a listen. one of the things I had to go through was finally accepting the fact that I need to forgive those in my life. And I feel like growing up, or these past couple of years, I was kind of like in that teenage asshole stage where I thought nobody understood me and I was always correct, and I feel like because of this like emotional overload that I didn't know how to deal with at the time, I kind of put my problems on other people. I blamed people for the way I was feeling instead of looking at myself. Or I blamed others for the relationship that we had, even though it does work both ways. And you can say that the phone works both ways yet. And looking back, one of my problems was I held a lot of baggage towards my parents, and not only my parents but others in my life, but more specifically my dad. Even though my dad's perfectly fine or whatever, as a kid I didn't understand a lot of things in life, and I built up all this anger and all this tension because we didn't have the perfect relationship that I thought that, or at least what I thought was a perfect relationship at the time. And now as I get older and the more I think about it, is I can't be upset with my dad because is more often than not, I feel like a lot of relationships like this is somebody's upset with their dad who was probably raised by a dad who wasn't the best dad for them, and then they weren't raised by a dad who wasn't the best dad for them. It's a nonstop cycle, and I feel like it's about time that we stop this cycle and finally have some grace and mercy, because I feel like forgiveness is the key here. And with that being said, for anybody who's ever struggling with a situation with their parents or anything, or maybe you have a loved one in your life that you're not on great terms with, I just want to caution you that tomorrow isn't promised, and you truly never know when, hell, like even after this video, maybe you could go and choke on a Dorito or a grape or something, and then that's it, dude. And I for one I don't want to lose anybody or end on bad terms with nobody, and I want to be able to have my dad in my life instead of me shunning him out anymore. And I feel like it's time to forgive and finally just like let things go and to grow our relationship and to just grow as people. And another way I was feeling during this, another thing I realized was that we're all just kids getting older at the end of the day. Growing up as a kid, my parents would fight in front of me a lot, and it got real bad. And even though I'd have to like see it and hear it all the time, and all these thoughts still relive in my head, I can go back to the exact day and remember seeing it like a perfect view of it. And as a kid, I grew to resent them, because my parents weren't perfect, and at the time I didn't understand it. And even though I'm not condoning it, or I'm not saying that it was right that they chose to argue and solve their issues in front of me, at the end of the day, they're just two people learning and trying to figure out life the same way that me and my current girlfriend are. And even though nobody's perfect, dude, like everybody's just trying to figure out this game of life. And I feel like that, and me coming to terms with that, has been a lot more freeing for me emotionally. And I'm kind of allowing myself to let go of some of this baggage and to finally have a healthier relationship with everybody in my family. And that's really what I've been longing for the longest time. And a lot of it comes down to me and me growing as a person. I think one of the things that really just was majority of it was accepting how much anger I had pent up inside me since I was a kid. And I had to realize if I'm angry about something, I need to go back and look at why I'm angry about it, and not just pin it onto other people, because nothing gets solved that way. And if I go back and I can actually find a way that I had some say in it, then at least now it's in my control, and I can finally take some responsibility for the reason I'm feeling. So instead of being angry at my dad, or not being, maybe him not being around as much as I wanted him to, or to not having the perfect relationship with him that I wanted, but I can also say probably when I was like 15 or 16, I could have been a better son towards him as well. And like I said earlier, it does work both ways. Relationships are not a one-sided road. It takes two people to tango, and for the long run, I was just solely relying on him to do it all. And now that I have realized, I have been there more emotionally, and I'm kind of being more involved with everybody and have a better relationship with everybody that I do love. With all that besides the point, I did have to learn how to change my outlook on life. you know, I was a very negative person regarding my situation or whatever. I feel like most people do this, and it's fully understandable. But it is part of flipping that switch that you kind of just have to realize and accept. And if you just change your way of thinking, I really do think that things will start to look up for you. And this all goes hand in hand with just changing your outlook on life and looking for all the good parts in the day instead of just looking on solely on negative. So say you get Subway and say you didn't want no fucking pickles. Instead, they put pickles on that motherfucker, but dude, you still got your Subway. You got a sub. You can pick them off at the end of the day. The pickles aren't going to kill you. Maybe that's a bad analogy, but I hope you guys can see where I'm coming at. I believe they did an experiment forever ago. It's called the red car experiment, where say you're on the road and you're driving or you're out and about, and all you think about, you're constantly thinking about it, is a red car. Just a red car. It can be any car, but the color of it is red. Truth can be said that when you're out, you're going to see more red cars than you would normally. And you're going to see a red car here and there and more red cars than you've ever fucking actually noticed before, because that is all you're constantly thinking about. Same to be said if you're looking for big booty women. For the most part, you can find big booty women if that's all that you're thinking about. But realizing this and finally coming to terms with this, that if I just try to look for at least a little bit of positive in everything, that genuinely I'll find just more positive within my day. Or if I think about only positive shit all day, I'm genuinely only going to do positive shit all day. And then also having to realize that good and bad work hand in hand. I don't think having bad shit or just bad shit in general is not a bad thing, because good and bad are, you get to think about them kind of like the yin yang symbol. They work hand in hand, really. Because good comes after the bad, but in order to see the good and to realize and cherish how good it actually is, you've had to have gone through some bad first. So you can also say that there is no testimony without a test also. But like I said earlier, everything has to change sometime. Even though we're humans and we're afraid of the unknown and change for some ungodly reason, it's easier to stay where you're at and to live the days going day by day, feeling how you are, just accepting life that's how it is, or just blaming it on other reasons that may not even be involved. You know, I'm gonna leave you guys with some food for thought, and I want you guys to think about this and ponder on it for a little bit. But nothing will change if nothing changes. But with that all being said, that's all I have for you guys today. If you guys enjoyed, please like or maybe even subscribe to the channel. I have a lot more content that I do have planned for you guys. Today I'm gonna go out with a different outro. Make sure you tell somebody you love them, and maybe even tell them you're proud of them. With that all being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.